Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to do some more shell scripting, and I'll cover Linux as well as some shell scripting commands. And here we go. All right, so this video, I'm going to attempt to set this script up so that I can call one script from another script. And so currently I have this time-lapse script, and I'm going to make some adjustments to it because I want to be able to call the rendering script. And if the time-lapse variable is set to yes, I want to be able to call that to run the script over here instead of defining that time-lapse functionality in this script again. So what I'm going to do is to go ahead and remove what is here right now. And by remove, I mean commenting out. So a habit that I have is if I have something in here currently that exists, I just comment it out instead of removing it immediately. And the reason being is because I may end up getting to a certain point where I get stuck on something, and so I come back to what was originally there and maybe adapt something different from what was originally there instead of trying to delete it and then don't remember what I had. So I'm going to comment that out, and then next I want to do a call to the time-lapse script. And then over in my time-lapse script, I want to change that as well. So instead of the current directory, I'm going to do, so I'm going to add some things here. So I want to say if the argument 1 that was passed into the script is not equal to empty string, then to do the stuff inside of the brackets, and else I'm going to echo the video file to time-lapse was not provided, and there we go for that. All right, and so input video file will be $1. Okay. And so what I'm doing here is I've now said that the input video file must be provided. And if the input video file has not been provided, then you're going to basically go down here and exit, and that be it. And so since I'm only going to call this once per file, what I'm gonna do is actually go ahead and let's see, comment. Nope, that's not it. All right, I don't know how to do there's a shortcut for comments. I don't know how to do that in Visual Studio Code, so I'm gonna just do it the manual way and just do the hash on each line. All right. And let's see, so I can highlight all of this and move it over a level. I'm going to move this date up here to the very top, and I'm also going to put one down here at the bottom. And I may come back later on and add some additional functions here that'll kind of put a wrapper there, but usually I like to have a date timestamp of when the process begins and when the process ends, so I know how long it ran. And that is helpful to make sure that it actually processed the file that it should have processed, because sometimes it'll run in 2 seconds and you have a 500 megabyte file. There's no way it could have time-lapsed that in 2 seconds. So it helps with the diagnosing of issues when you're writing or debugging your code. All right, so I'm using file name in my script. And I want to kind of be consistent throughout the rest of my script. So what I'm going to do is instead, I'm going to change this to file name. And I know I use lowercase down here at the bottom, but I'm actually going to go ahead and change that to uppercase because traditionally when you write shell scripts, from my experience, it has been that the variable names are usually always in uppercase, contrary to other programming languages. So just keep that in mind if you're writing a script or whatnot and you come across that. All right, so I also want to strip out the file extension in here. So if the file extension, let's see. All right, so I'm trying to remember all right, so we're going to do file name here, and we're going to run the sed command. Actually need to echo the file name to the sed command, and going to do dot mp4, and actually going to remove dot mp4 from the end of the file name, and then put that there. If the file name has dot mov, then we're going to take that same file name, but instead remove mov, and then put the new file output there. And so most of the time, the files that I output end with the MP4 extension. However, there are scenarios where I would have an MOV extension. And believe it or not, I probably need to go ahead and add a condition in here for this as well, because I use OBS Studio. And so OBS Studio actually likes to output files in the MKV extension. So since I'm making this change, I might as well go ahead and modify it accordingly to be able to support that in the future. What did I do? I think I copied and pasted something wrong here. All right, so I'm going to do MKV. All right, and so there, that'll handle the more common formats that I use. So most of the time I have files output in MP4, but sometimes I do have the MOV files output, and sometimes I do have MKV files. All right, and so with that, it will take it, do a time lapse, and give it that output file. Actually, I need to leave the file name unmodified and use a different variable here. I just realized that. So we do mod file name here, as well as here, 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 and here. I get everywhere. Yeah, I believe I do. Because what will happen is when FFmpeg goes to run this, it's going to look for the file name. It's going to pull the file name that I provide, and if I strip it off in the variable name and then put it back into itself, it's going to be like that file does not exist. So I need to make sure I'm not doing that accidentally like I was just doing here. And so really I could kind of combine these two commands into a single command, but for right now, for the sake of building this out, I'm going to make it two separate commands. Theoretically I could do, so let me make a copy of this line and go here and then do equal $sign. Is that correct? No, quotation. All right, and so theoretically I could do this and get rid of this line here and this line here. It is exactly the same output, but like I said, I want to do both lines as two separate commands, so I'm gonna leave them as two separate commands for right now. That's the wrong shortcut. That is to, I'm trying to find a shortcut where I can just move the line. Control Alt. Oh, okay. We'll just do it the old school way. Copy, paste. There we go. All right. So now that I have that here, so if I'm set in the beginning, I'm setting my file name equal to $1, whatever is passed in as argument 1 will become the file name, and then in the rest of the script, I'm using the file name is not equal to that, and then it's being processed. The other thing I need to do is to go back to my original script, that is the rendering script. And so I need to be able to make a call to timelapse.sh, but I also need to be able to call that from anywhere else, because this timelapse script actually, the render video script actually moves around. And so I needed to be able to figure out what is the path. So let's see, path of script bash. And so I need to know the path of the current script, because these two scripts will reside in the same directory. All right, so dir name $0 should give me that. Okay, so if I put that here, I believe that should run. I don't know if I can call, I don't want to source it, so I might need to do bash here, or actually bin bash, and then dir name 0. Let's see how they have this on Stack Overflow, how they're calling this particular thing. All right, so dir name cd dollar dir name 0. All right, so they're seeding. Okay, that makes sense. So the copy cd dev and null. All right, so I need really run it like that, and then do slash timelapse.sh. All right, and so if we go back, all right, so if my timelapse variable is set to yes, then I'm call a this script here, which will point to this script, and this part right here is getting the current directory. I probably need to actually escape that, come to think about it. Not sure how that will work. And also going to put this in braces for the sake of I forgot the word that I'm looking for here, but parallelism, so that my variable names all have these braces here. All right, and so that should get that, and that should call the script to run LAPSE. Yeah, that's spelled correctly. Okay, and so yeah, so just to recap, to call a script from a script, you basically need to give it the path of that script. You can do the dot and then the script name. So you could do dot timelapse dot sh, well, dot space. And that is another way that you can call the script, but I prefer to call it with the appropriate shell. So I'm going to do bin bash and then call the script that way. And then that will come over here and run all of these conditions in here to generate the time lapse video. And so that way I don't have to redo the same script or the same logic in a different script, because there are times where I'm going to have a time-lapse video that I may want to make off a video that I'm going to post on like Instagram or Twitter. And so I don't want to have to run that through Kdenlive and then run that through here and then run that through here just to get the time lapse. I want to also be able to run the video directly through the time lapse script. So this will allow that flexibility for me to be able to do that here. All right, so if you have not watched any of the other videos in this particular series of modifying these scripts, the link to the repository where I keep all of my scripts will be down in the description below, so you can reference those for your particular purpose. If you have any questions or of how you're using any kind of scripting, I would like to hear from you on how you're using scripting in your particular setup or applications. So if you'd be willing to, please share that information down in the comment section below. If you learn a little bit more about shell scripting, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have not already, be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button below, as well as clicking the bell to get additional notifications. Last but not least, please check out my website, thealmostengineer.com, where I post information like how to use these scripts and more there for your leisure reading. Until next time, peace out.